Welcome to another episode of NEC-Suites, where we interview community leaders to provide insights to our small business community. Today, I've got the good fortune of interviewing Tanisha Nunn, who is the president of the African American Chamber of Commerce of Central Florida. Tanisha, thank you so much for joining us.
Hi, Belinda. I'm happy to be here with you.
Thank you. Now, when we spoke, I shared with you how this year we're doing our interviews a little differently, where we're not just sitting in two chairs and having a conversation. We are actually doing something that's a hobby of the guest. And in your case, you love to bake. And so we are going to not only enjoy some baked goods, but frost them ahead of time. And I was so looking forward to this. I'm going to know. So,
Belinda,
tell me a little about why baking. What does baking do for you?
Awesome. Well, first, thank you for this opportunity to spend a little time with you and have some fun together and share and learn. So I have always loved baking, and I bought a few of my favorite cookbooks that I've used growing up with my mother, grandmother, and aunt. Spent a lot of time in the kitchen, you know, especially with the holidays, going to make like special cookies and for the fall, like a pumpkin.
And this is actually for cookies, though? You just put the
for
cookie dough in it.
Yeah, so you make the cookie dough in there, and it's got like a Christmas tree and a bell and a star.
I was going to say that was a really small cupcake otherwise.
I know. No, those are for cookies. But today we're all on cupcakes, which is exciting.
I am.
So we already have, of course, the yellow, and then we've got a chocolate as well. And so, yeah, we've done a little frosting here, but let's just kind of grab one and play along.
Okay, so I'm going to let you pick, and we'll do that, and we will talk about, you know, you mentioned families and doing things over the holidays. I also think when we think of chambers as almost a business family.
Absolutely.
So we can frost while I ask you the first question.
I love that, yes.
Why join a chamber? Why is it important for a small business? And you can tell me which one I should grab, and I'm going to follow suit with.
Why don't you start with this one, and I'll start with that one. So we're going to make like just little drops here.
So
and
just
yours
like
is more like a little flower. Yep. So we'll just do it like this. And you asked me a question which I loved. Why join a chamber?
Yeah. What does a chamber what chamber value is there for a small business to join?
Absolutely. Well, there's so much value. First, it provides a sense of community. You know, owning and running a small business can be very lonely.
Absolutely.
And if you can come and join a chamber, and here at the NEC, we have many chambers and great resources, and we're so happy to be part of the NEC. But there's an opportunity for you as a business owner to come and be with like-minded individuals where you can learn, you can grow, you can have resources, and really just create an atmosphere to help grow your business in many different ways.
It's and you're right. It's having the access to all these things and networking with individuals that are facing the same dilemmas you are.
Absolutely.
As you know, when you think of a small business owner, they tend to be individuals that are having to wear multiple hats. You're the HR expert, the CEO, the CFO.
Legal,
correct.
CPA, everything.
But interacting with other individuals, other small business, other entrepreneurs that have the same experiences or in the process of going through the same experiences is rewarding. So
absolutely. And share resources and share best practices. We see that within our leads groups and our cohorts that we run as they really create those small communities, even within the chamber community, to kind of help each other. So that's
out. I like that. I like that.
Yeah.
Now, this year, the Chamber is celebrating 80 years, your 80th anniversary. So it ties so nicely with cupcakes and frosting.
Happy birthday to the chamber.
Exactly.
I love it. Yes, I love it.
So how was that journey? Because you've been in this role now as president 7 years?
6.5 years,
Okay.
absolutely. So yes, we're celebrating 80 years this year. We were founded in 1945, and no, Belinda, I am not the founder.
No, yeah, I know.
Thank you for. I did something recently, and they said, "Are you the founder?" And I said 1945. So that's always funny. I love to think back on that. But yes, so we've been around for 80 years. Our official anniversary is in November, but we're celebrating all this year. And it has been a journey. Of course, I've been here for 6.5 years, and there's been extreme growth. We're almost up to 1,000 members, so that's that's exciting.
Wow.
And you know, we've just really worked to grow our presence in the community. Not only do we want to be a support for our members, but we also want to support and just really have a community presence. So we participate in a lot of events in the community. We want to make sure that we are supporting entrepreneurs and the community as a whole.
Yeah. So how do you keep the chamber fresh? I mean, this year you'll obviously have new programming, but how are you, because you've done an incredible job. I mean, you've grown your membership to 1,000. That's so remarkable. And that's one of the strongest chambers, I'm going to say, in Central Florida.
We're one of the top ones. Absolutely, yes.
So how do you keep programming fresh? How do you keep, people wanting to continue to join, be involved and active?
Yes. First, you have to listen to your members. You have to know what it is that they want and what is it that they need.
Kind of your clients at the end of the day, like a small business owner.
Just like clients. And so we are running a business. And so we have, like you said, our members are our customer base. And so we want to make sure that we're always providing the programs, the workshops, the networking that they need. And if we don't offer it, we make those connections. So like here at the NEC, we have SCORE, we have SBDC, we have the Hispanic Chamber. And so oftentimes we collaborate and do things together. So we're just making sure as we talk to our members, as we send out surveys, even after events, we always have a survey and we look at that data as we plan for the next year. So it's, we have a lot of chambers here in Central Florida. And we like to there are lots of options.
And competition is good. Some people think it's bad, and it's not.
And some of our members are members of several chambers, and we actually encourage that. You don't have to only join one chamber, but we want to make sure that we are meeting them where they are and their needs and challenging them in a way. Sometimes we don't know what we need. And so, that's kind of how we do business.
The evolution of business is similar, and as it is with chambers. So I'm going to just point something out. So this bag kind of tore a little. But no. But let me tell you, I improvised. It was the dollop in the center.
As well, you kept going and I was doing all the talking.
But that's why you're the guest.
This is Belinda. Even with that, she knows how to work it. So I love it. That looks beautiful.
But so this is kind of a good example. You do this to decompress and, kind of relieve some of the stress in your life. But how do you manage your time?
Absolutely.
Time management is one of those things that's so important. How do you do that? Especially with the amount of events that the chamber puts on.
Yes. And so, not only the events that we put on, but also those that we support. And so it's important to plan. And I think in planning and being organized is the best way for any busy executive. You have to be organized. You have to live by a calendar almost right down to the minute. And I mean, truly, you have to factor in everything, not only the business aspect, but your personal aspect. So organization is key. And I always love to say, if you fail to plan, then plan to fail. And so you have to plan each and every day.
So when I first started, I shared with my brand new team, just that. I was like, I live on my calendar because ultimately it's important to stay organized. And it's hard to manage an organization, do the outreach that's needed in roles like ours, still fulfill all the obligations that we have in-house. And then I've got a younger family and it's to be present for my children as well. And I know you've got a teenage boy.
16, almost driving, about to drive. But regardless, we have to make sure that we plan and teach our team to do the same. If it's not on the calendar, it's not going to happen in my life. It's got to be on the calendar or I may not show up. So that is how I actually manage everything.
Staying organized. I like that. So you have an incredible role. You are a community leader and just are turned to for advice. And I'm so humbled that you were taking the time to do this with us as well.
Pleasure.
How was your professional journey? And we can actually, I'll have you answer that and we can change cupcakes.
Yes,
we'll use different tips.
Absolutely.
And
let's switch out.
Yeah. And actually, do you want to set them over here and we'll do,
Absolutely.
put them on the plate actually.
We'll show them off. Let's show off our work.
Makes sense.
Really nice. Beautiful. I think I still have to finish mine and stuff.
But
It has been a journey. So I actually come from the legal profession
Oh,
where I practiced law for 18 years.
so I knew you had studied law, but I didn't realize you had
I
practiced.
practiced for 18 years, medical malpractice and products
Okay.
liability, all plaintiffs' work. So leaving the practice of law and coming to a chamber, because I went straight from
Straight from that.
practicing law. For a few years, I worked for myself. Prior to that, I was with the nationally recognized law firm.
Okay.
And so it was an easy transition because advocacy is something that I've done my whole career.
Yeah.
So now I'm representing our members
Yeah.
and making sure I bring resources for them. So it's been an interesting journey,
Yeah.
one that I could have never have imagined,
Yeah.
but I'm enjoying it.
What made you go into law, to pursue law? What was
Right.
intriguing
You know
to you
what?
about
It
that?
was my fifth grade teacher, believe it or not. And I wanted to be a teacher. And she encouraged me. Her name is Mrs. Fountain. But she encouraged me. She said, I think you would make a great attorney. And because I was always raising my hand in class and had so much to say. And she led our elementary school debate team, and I had one for the school. So
Oh,
she
wow.
put that
In your
thought
head?
into my head. Yes.
And it goes back to, mentorship
So
and just
important.
looking out for our children and the influence that not only teachers but
Absolutely.
guidance counselors
It's so
can have.
important.
So profound
Yes.
for it to have resonated with you.
Absolutely.
That's neat. That's
Absolutely.
neat.
Yes.
So okay, we said we were going to
I know.
frost. Okay, what's the next one?
So let's use the same one. These are the big round tips. Do you want to use the red one or the yellow one? You choose.
I'm going to do red just because
Okay,
the
go right ahead.
cupcakes vanilla.
Absolutely.
So
Here we go. So these are a little bigger, as you can tell, and it'll
Okay.
come out more. And you can do the same. You did such a great job. Or if you want to,
So just kind of
just
okay.
kinda
So
go around.
here, so when I was, my dad was in the Air Force and he retired my senior year of high school.
Oh, okay.
And my first job, well, my second, because in the
Yes.
Air Force they put you to work at
Yes.
whatever age. So
Yes.
12 technically
Yes.
was my first job at the burger bar. But I worked at TCBY.
The
And
frozen
wait,
yogurt. I used to
yeah.
love that, Belinda.
I watched as they decorated cakes. So this frosting, I was like, oh, I
Is it
get to
bringing back memories?
Yes, I'm not very good at it, but it was just fun to kind of watch someone else do this amazing art, with sugar. I want to ask you, if you had to describe yourself in one word, what would it be? How do you describe
Oh,
it?
Belinda, that's a great question. It would be undaunted.
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 I'm going to say I am so glad you said that because oftentimes as women, we don't give ourselves enough credit
That is
and
true.
do more, I'm going to call them more feminine words or more girly words. And that's my term, not yours.
Yes,
But
I agree.
undaunted, I love that.
Thank
Because
you.
that truly, I really think that
Do you think it
encompasses.
fits?
Oh, absolutely.
Thank you.
Especially at the helm of a chamber, as large and everything that you've done with it. Fearless
Thank you.
is a word
That's
that
what I think of when you think of someone who's undaunted. They can make bold decisions. They're fearless.
strong,
And so,
confident.
absolutely.
And you've got to take those stances when you're uplifting others.
Absolutely.
And that's at the end of the day what chambers do. I like
Yes,
that.
you like that?
Undaunted. Undaunted Tanisha.
Can I ask you if you, can I ask you? I know you're asking me
I know.
questions, but
So-
can I ask you if you
Yeah.
were going to choose a word? Because I
And-
like that. That's a great question. What would your word be? One word.
So normally I would say, oh, happy,
Yes.
but going
And
back
you are
to
always happy. Yes.
yeah, but going back to the point, I don't think we give ourselves enough credit at times, and so maybe astute,
Oh, I like that. Astute.
where you're having to read a room, having
Yes.
to kind of know strategies and just quickly
Absolutely.
pivot or whatever. So
That fits you perfectly.
astute.
Yes,
Okay.
you are very astute.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
I like-
You walk into any room and I know you can think quickly and
Just
know how
kinda-
to navigate and
or
make
just
those
react.
absolutely
Yeah, that
or
poker
not to
face.
react.
Yeah.
All of those things.
So poker
So that's a
faces.
good one.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
I like that.
Astute is great.
I like
Astute
that.
is great.
So these cupcakes are kind of cool.
I
But,
know, and I'm getting icing here, but
oh,
no,
no,
they
that
are.
works,
And
yeah.
I love the colors,
Yeah.
right?
yeah, it is.
Yeah.
Especially over the
Let's-
holidays with
exactly.
the red and
Let's
green.
put
Although
your
we
red-
chose the colors, they were your chamber colors.
Oh my
and
gosh.
So that's why we went with the
I love
red,
that.
yellow,
Thank you.
green, and white.
Thank you. Thank you.
So-
It's perfect. Perfect.
Oh,
Perfect.
I'm going to try a green tip. Is it also a round one?
It's
It,
a small round, but yes.
Okay.
And
let's try that.
I'll do red on this
It,
one too. Yeah.
Okay, so last question for you.
Okay.
What's the best business advice that you've ever been given?
Oh, you know what? This is a quote that I often use, and it was given to me by, as we know, educators are so important. I talked about my teacher, Mrs. Fountain, who encouraged me to go into law, but my student council, that's what we called it way back then. I think it's SGA now, but my student council advisor told me, and it stuck with me, and I use it in personal business. Success depends upon the second letter. And the second letter in success is you. It depends upon you. And of course, we all need the sense of community like a chamber provides, or your family and mentors. But ultimately, it falls on you.
It's your attitude.
It's your attitude.
Approach.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
How you show up.
It's how undaunted
how
you are.
Astute you are. That's right. Being undaunted.
We're so using that. You realize
we're going to use that. I know. And so it depends upon you. And that is, I think,
depends on the second letter, and that letter is you.
Absolutely.
I love
so
that.
I've been using that since high school. I was voted most likely to succeed my senior year. And in my yearbook, that was my quote, and I've stuck with it. So I say that to the chamber members. I say it to my son. Yeah. That is the best advice I have.
I love that.
Thank you.
I love that. Great job. Well, thank you so much for spending some time with us today. I really enjoyed getting to know you a little better, learning some advice. That's really great advice.
My pleasure. This has been awesome.
Yeah, and sharing your craft as well. So now with all episodes, we wrap up with our phrase. So we're going to look into the camera, and I'm going to want you to say it with me at the same time.
Start or grow your business. Make connections. NEC the possibilities. Thanks for watching.